You're listening to The Blind Chick, an AfterSight original podcast. We're telling you stories about strength, overcoming hurdles, and living experiences. We see who you really are. Blindness can be an adventure. Are you ready for the journey of a lifetime? We are.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Blind Chick. That's Moses Street.
And that's Penn Street, the blind chick who can fly faster than a speeding locomotive, reach tall buildings in a single bound, and just an all-around great woman.
That's funny.
It's the music that got me going.
On that note, we're going to just dive right in. Today's guest grew up loving sports and credits sports to being really her compass that navigated her through her vision loss. And I can definitely relate to her story. Paula Kissinger, welcome to The Blind Chick.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, well, welcome. And the first question's a softball.
Okay.
Where are you joining us from today?
So I grew up in Colorado, but I just moved back to Philadelphia. So that is where I'm joining from today.
Wow.
What?
Have you run into Sylvester Stallone yet?
Not yet. Looking forward to it.
Okay.
Run up those stairs, Paula.
Oh, I plan on it. Oh yeah. The Rocky Steps, they're legendary.
That's right. What took you back to Philly?
Honestly, I missed the East Coast. I went to college out here and I love it here. Colorado will always be home, but I love it here. So I'm happy to be back.
Oh, wonderful. So you have family there or friends or?
Both. I have family in the kind of greater Northeast area, not in Philadelphia, but close enough.
Nice. Yeah, usually it's the opposite. People are moving to Colorado.
I know. Everyone wants to move back to Colorado, and I have lots of friends doing it, and they're like, you should come back. I'm like, no.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm really, I grew up partially near Pittsburgh. And during my, so the East Coast, it has a strong draw for me too. I actually once, as you know, Colorado fall color starts around mid-September.
Yep.
And I did a journey because I thought I could get in 3 months of fall color. And I started at the fall color here, went back east and then down south and got in 3 months of fall color.
Nice.
Wow.
Oh,
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, we've even talked about going back east this fall for, for a break and for the colors and everything. So, well, Paula, speaking of colors, what is your vision like? What's your diagnosis and when did it begin?
Okay, so my official diagnosis is cone rod dystrophy, but if you know anything about that diagnosis, it's what everyone in the field calls the trash can diagnosis, because pretty much anything that does not have a great description when it relates to retinas is cone rod dystrophy. So more specifically, in your retinas, you have, two types of photoreceptors, cones and rods. I don't have cones, which are responsible for example, your color vision, but also your vision in bright light, your distance vision, things like that. So I don't really have most of those things. However, I'm really odd in the fact that I was born almost completely blind. I had light perception, and they're not exactly sure if I had anything more than that. And over time, as a very young child, I actually started regaining vision, which is really uncommon.
Wow.
And they think it's just because neuroplasticity, when you're that young, your brain can figure out how to use the vision that you had in the best way. So now my acuity is about 2200. I can see some color, which I should not physically be able to, but I can. My distance vision is pretty bad, but I make do. I have no depth perception. So, my vision's kind of strange, but it works.
Exactly. Yeah. Mine too. Like there's no like specific diagnosis, or it don't fit into any boxes. So I totally get that. Yeah. I went to guide dogs the very first time I went to get my very first guide dog. My roommate had cone rod dystrophy. So she explained the same thing like you did, like none of us are the same.
Yeah.
So it was interesting about that.
Yeah, and it's from what Penn just said, it's reading the bio on you and everything. It was like I was reading about Penn. Is your life path right now is so similar to everything that Penn did, because she got in all the sports. So
tomboy.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah. And so going along with that, your love for it started at summer camp when you were a kid. And what ignited that spark for you?
So I give all the credit to my parents. I'm very lucky with two incredible parents who supported me and found this great summer camp for kids with visual impairments at 7. So I went off to a 2-week sleepaway camp at 7 years old with other kids with visual impairments. And that's the first time I was really immersed in, like, I guess the blind world, where I was surrounded by people who had similar life experiences to me and was participating in sports with all of these other kids. And it was normal. Rather than, in my regular everyday world where me as a blind girl playing any kind of sport was miraculous to the people around me.
Yes, you guys are obviously black magic magicians.
Yeah, I'm a witch, right?
Yes.
Yep. In the best possible way.
Exactly. Yeah, I own that title. But I think that's where I really figured out, I can love sports. I can love being active. And that is also where I discovered Judo, which is the sport I ended up competing a lot in. I was on a team with some of my best friends to this day were on that team with me. And I think it really just fostered a community. And that's where I felt normal, which is really important when you're a kid, because other kids are brutal when you're different.
You think?
Are they?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So when you got into judo, and you said it was actually at your summer camp?
Yeah, it was at not that first one when I was like 7, but I went to these programs every summer, and I think I was between 8 and 10 when I got exposed to judo for the first time. And it was a Paralympic athlete who came to do like a judo clinic at this camp. And I loved it. And my, again, fantastic parents, all the credit to them, I told them about it, and they found me a coach in Boulder, where I grew up, who not only was incredible, this is like a 4'10" woman, tiny, who could beat the crap out of anybody, but also she had worked with other people with visual impairments at the Olympic Training Center. So she was an incredible coach for me. I had such a good experience. And again, my teammates were like my family. It was a beautiful, like, moment of realization.
And so what do you think it is about judo? Because you're not the first. I never got into judo. I did learn other self-defense, full contact self-defense classes, and same thing. I drank the Kool-Aid the first class. But why? But I actually have a really good friend who lives in New York, and Sarah, you're out there. Yeah, I know you're a friend of the podcast. She actually did go to the Paralympics and performed really, really, really well, and is still super involved with the sport. And I've heard other podcast guests on that had really gotten into judo. What do you think it is about judo that makes it accessible, like an accessible sport for people who are blind or low vision?
So I think it's just the nature of the rules of judo and the sport in general, because in judo, for anyone who doesn't know, there's no punching or kicking. It's all throws, chokes, arm bars, and pins. So it's all tactile. You can do it with your eyes closed because you can feel how a person is moving, right? So it just lends itself really well to people with visual impairments. Even the Paralympics versus the Olympics, the rules of judo are exactly the same, except that in the Paralympics, you start touching the other person rather than in the normal Olympics, you start on opposite sides of the mat. That's it. So it really just lends itself well to people with visual impairments. It's really easy to accommodate it.
Wow. Because I am going to forget which sport it's in, but this year in Paris, there actually is a Paralympian who is performing in the actual Olympics. And then she's also, I can't remember what sport it is, but that's what this reminds me of that, right? Like, like it'll be, oh man, that's when we know we're going to make it.
Oh, yeah.
when more, and I know it's not the first time that a Paralympian has competed and either won or did very, very well in the traditional Olympics. So,
I competed in able-bodied competitions. I actually never competed in the para route.
Wow.
It was just a personal choice. Again, acuity is 2200, which for anyone who doesn't know that's the cutoff for the Paralympics track. So I could have, but frankly, I didn't need to, so I didn't.
Yeah. Awesome. So do you still practice the art? Judo?
I did in college. I haven't since COVID, frankly. But I still would. Yeah, I don't think I would compete again. It's a lot on your body, but I would definitely go train it. It's really fun.
You sound so very young, so that's why it sounds 24. like yeah, I was gonna say you sound like you could still be in college, but
well, that's you share another love with Penn is that Penn loves to ski.
Oh, yeah.
And we know you do. And so the one thing near and dear to us is the craziness of being on a slope. And so if you could talk about the different styles of guiding that the different ski places offer and which style works for you. Mine is, since I guide Penn, I carry a really large stick to knock all those crazy skiers away from us.
Yep.
So...
Moses, you want to come ski with me? I could use you.
Yeah, I know. It's like wearing that bright orange bib, which covers the whole top of you, front and back, is a target for all those yahoos.
I've been hit more times than I can count, and I wear a huge blind skier vest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's? that has always fascinated me with the bibs. And the only thing, like, I don't know if this is true, and any of you sighted skiers out there that have run over as blind people, please let us know. But why do you keep running us over? And it's always a sighted person.
Always.
And it's never another, blind people don't run into other blind people. But it's almost like they're like, oh, what are they wearing? And it's almost like they get distracted and they have to get close to actually see what our bibs say. Yeah. And then it's like they see blind skier, like, oh my, and they freak out. And that's when the accidents happen.
I think it's that old expression of like, where your head goes, your body follows. I think they're staring, they're fascinated. And then before they even realize they're on top of you.
Exactly.
Oh, that's right. That's a good theory because you know that anything that you can do besides sit in a chair, sighted people just cannot figure out how on earth you did it. Oh my God.
If I go grocery shopping, I'm an inspiration.
And oh my gosh, that you actually you cook that food when you get home all by yourself. How does that happen? It's that whole witch thing comes back in, right?
I know.
Yep.
Yeah, when Penn was job hunting, the first question out of their mouth was, "How on earth did you get here by yourself?"
Oh God! Oh, don't tell me that. I'm in the job hunt right now.
Oh.
So, that's funny.
Gosh.
But what Penn and I use headphones. And that works really good. Yeah. And I prefer to be behind her, partially because I'm basically blocking for her more than guiding. And if I'm behind her, she'll ski faster.
I do.
That's the most common way I would say is that the guide guides from behind. I'm, again, weird. I have a group of guides who are fantastic and know me very well. So my preferred way is that I will have a lead guide who I follow very closely because my close-up vision is pretty good and I can track them really well. Mm. So I will ski somewhere between like 2 and 10 feet behind the tails of their skis. So I'm close. They have to trust me that I won't hit them, which is and then typically I will have another guide behind me, as we call them the tail guide, but really you want to call them the blocker, but we can't do that. So tail guide. And they're there for safety reasons. As you know, people are crazy and don't pay attention. And I ski at pretty high speeds, so that's important.
Yes.
Okay. And then for bragging rights, what slopes can you go down? Like Penn prefers the blues and double blues, and she can do the blacks and has, but I can't do the blacks. Mm-hmm. But so are you up to the blacks yet? Or are you?
It sounds like she's waiting.
Double blues.
I can ski pretty much anything. If I have a choice, I would take a black groomer any day. I like it steep. The only thing I really can't ski are the really tight trees because, again, no depth perception. Right. Other than that, I can ski anything. It might not be the prettiest, but I can ski it. And I have. Sometimes you get into a spot where you have a mogul field and there's rocks sticking out and you just got to get down. It happens.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. My favorite too is that the steeper, the better, but it's groomed. Mm-hmm. And because I love the speed.
Yep.
And my absolute dream situation, which does happen actually fairly often, which is kind of surprising, especially in Colorado, is Moses and I'll come up over the lip and he'll look down and he'll tell me like how wide it is, mm-hmm. and then we'll wait there until it's wide open. and then he'll literally say, "It's wide open, go." And
oh yeah.
And then if I get and it's you know, I'm totally blind in my right eye, and I just have a little fuzzy peripheral on the left. Mm-hmm. But just the feeling of, and he's behind me, and like we have Bluetooth headsets, which has been a godsend. I don't know how we skied without them.
Oh yeah.
But it's just that feeling of flying, and I'm not blind. I'm not low vision. I'm not visually impaired. It's just me and the snow and I can go as fast as I want or as slow as I want, but usually it's as fast as I want. And then, and most of those will tell me, you know, hold left, if I'm getting too close to the trees on one side or the other, or, you know, or if somebody is coming up behind us, he'll say something. And then, of course, when we get down where it's crowded, where the lifts are, or if we're crossing a line or something, he'll tell me to slow down. And then, but it is just, I mean, anybody out there who hasn't skied, you've heard me talk about skiing on this show before. I do just really recommend it. So Paula, where did you learn to ski?
Okay, so my parents are both very good skiers. In my family,
nice.
Every winter you ski. It's just something that you do. So I learned when I was 2.5.
Wow.
I was very, very little. My dad basically put me on skis, took me to a little tiny hill. It wasn't even, you know, a run. And said, stand up. When you fall down, you stand back up and keep going down the mountain.
Is that how he taught you to swim too? Like, like swim?
You know, throw them in. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
No, so, I mean, my parents figured out how to guide me when I started being able to actually ski. And they guided me for the first couple years of my life before we got into a program called Ignite in Colorado, where I found a whole lot of guides who could guide me, and my parents could go ski, which was great for them. We all actually got involved in Ignite as guides, so both of my parents guide for them in their
nice
program, because obviously they know how. And I ended up going from student to instructor in that program as well. And now I'm a clinic leader. So I train other guides how to guide.
Really? Wow.
So yeah, it's something, it's a rite of passage in my family. You learn to ski.
Yeah.
What's your favorite ski area in Colorado?
Probably Vail. It's where I grew up skiing. So I know that. The back of my hand. So
yeah.
Yeah, we like the mom and pop ski areas, like Keystone and Monarch.
Not
and
Keystone. We do not like Keystone.
Oh, not Keystone.
No, we do not like Keystone.
Loveland Pass.
Yeah, Loveland. We do like Loveland.
Because it's wide open and not
very many
skiers.
People are there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so speaking of Vail, I do love Vail. I've skied with Foresight ski guides.
Yep.
Yeah. Kristen, we love you out there. You guys are doing fantastic work up there. And so because now you're a mentor, right, for these young skiers. What's the best way to get people, because every time I mention skiing, it does not matter the age. People just think it's insane, and they're very afraid of skiing. And what do you tell people who are blind or low vision, or the parents of blind or low vision child, to get them a little bit over that hurdle of that fear with skiing?
Frankly, in my experience, it's usually the parents that the fear really comes from. Everyone is scared of skiing, and this is something I tell kids all the time.
Yeah.
It's scary to learn how to ski, no matter how much sight you have.
That is true.
So, yeah, I a ton of kids. Typically, I'm paired with the kiddos because, let's be honest, I could teach on the bigger mountain, but sending the blind skier to instruct or a bigger mount, not yeah. Other than that, I have a guide with me, because that's logical. But
yes, yeah.
But when I have these kiddos out, and a lot of them are very fearful, I say, first of all, everyone's scared. It's not just you. Second, any progress is progress towards skiing. So if that means you put on one ski and slide around and stomp your little ski foot, that's great. If that means that we do one run where I'm skiing backwards and you hold on to me the whole time, that's great. You still did a run. You're still skiing.
Yes.
So I think any steps toward the goal is a win. And also, once they do a run and figure out, oh, this is really fun, most of the time, a lot of that fear starts to melt away. And they want to do more. They want to go up again.
Oh.
Yeah, we're actually experiencing that with our grandkids, because they started out really young, and once they got that first run in, you couldn't get them off the slope.
Yeah, it's almost scary especially our 5-year-old grandson has zero fear.
Oh,
and so
honestly, that's harder to deal with.
I think so, because I feel like his first accident is going to be a bad one.
Oh boy!
He did one where he accidentally got a lot of air.
Oh boy!
And his mom, of course, went nuts and got up to him and he goes, "Let's go! Can we do that again?"
I've done that.
Well, and it was terrible because he's like, my back, Mama, my back. And of course, she's like, oh my gosh, he has broken his spine. He's paralyzed. And he just had snow up the back of his dick.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Blind Chick. You're listening to part 1 with Paula Kissinger. And next week, we're going to be joined by her again. Penn and Moses are going to dive into more of the sports that she plays and just how important sports are in the blind community. So you're not going to want to miss that. All right. We hope you guys have a fantastic week. We'll talk to you later.